Have you ever been hunted, John?
No. Also, it's June now.
Do all humans have as much trouble naming themselves as you do?
No, we mostly don't name ourselves at all. I guess I'm an exception.
Okay. Intensely strange, but let's not get sidetracked. My point is, I'm being hunted right now. Hunted by that same thing that just blew up Prospect's moon and your precious friend Jade.
Oh, fuck. That was the demon you were talking about?
I have no idea how he got from your session to ours, but that's the one. We thought you sent him intentionally as a sort of fuck you to your creators.
Our creators?
Haven't you figured it out yet? Jesus, do I have to explain every little thing to you? The point of this game is to create a new universe. We created your universe.
Whoa. So you guys won Spurb. Congrats.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not. If so, fuck off. If not, thanks. Either way, we did win the game. Though we called it Scrub because it's a vastly superior name in every way. Once the game is won and everything is finished, a doorway appears leading into the new universe of our creation. We should have ruled over you all like gods, but instead, something came through the door. From your side.
The dog-bird guy.
Right. After a session ends, it starts to decay. Our lands fall apart. Our meteors all impact the empty Skya. It's not supposed to be occupied. We're stuck outside your universe. From our perspective, it's only been a few days since the demon showed up. Since then, he's been really fucking things up for us. He destroyed Prospect, and we're pretty sure he's on his way to Durst. We need to get into your universe before our game collapses. Or the demon comes and kills us all. You know, whichever horrible inevitability comes first.
Wow. That's a lot to drop on me, Carcat. But yes, of course I will help you.
Wow. Okay, that was a lot easier than I assumed. I guess humans are just sort of naturally agreeable? Or maybe you have some special mental deficiency that prevents rational thought. Either way, June, thank you. But it's no longer that simple. Your universe is basically fucked. It's starting to look like we need a different plan.
Yeah, I was gonna say, things are pretty bad here. It sounds like you guys are somewhere in the near future from where the demon guy escapes, but he's still running around here with us, somehow. So you guys are from the future? The future and a different dimension? The future and a different dimension where you can see how messed up everything gets.
Yeah, your session and your universe are both fucked. But there's a way to fix it.
There is?
Yeah, but there's no time to explain. Plus, no offense, June, but I really doubt you'd be able to comprehend the full breadth of this plan.
Hey!
Ugh, let me put this in a more sentimental, human way. You'll need to come together and use the power of friendship to overcome these odds.
That does sound way better.
Simpleton.
Your name is Carcat Vantis. Presently, you're on a meteor, cooped up with your 12 friends, hiding from a demon. Things are pretty bleak, but it could be worse. Actually, no, they could not be worse. This is categorically the worst. The 12 friends, as you called them, are actually mentally unwell young adults who all have diverse reasons to despise one another, all trapped within a featureless gray mass of arcane tunnels and laboratories, the last vestiges of a once noble galaxy-spanning race, reduced to squeak beasts crawling around this place without purpose. Actually, there is one way this could be worse. That is if the demon you were all hiding from actually came down to finally kill you. That one saving grace is keeping your blood from boiling, possibly literally. To be fair as well, the 12 of your peers who you're trapped with aren't your only company. Not that the humans are much better. When you first arrived on this meteor, you'd devoted yourself to ridiculing and mocking the humans for dooming you all. But over the past days, you've come to realize the humans aren't your enemies, but they represent a spark of hope. Hope that you can escape this terrible fate. You sigh, growling deep in your chest. It's time you stop commiserating like a depressed wiggler and do something about this shitty situation. A situation, if you will.
Solix.
You call over to your best friend, He looks up from his computer, upon which is indecipherable code, his typing filling the room, even as he has looked away from the monitor.
What?
He asks offhandedly. He won't tell you what he's typing away doing. His usual cagey self.
It's time.
You say solemnly. Solix's glasses catch the light, one frame red, the other blue. He nods, turning back to his work. The Meteor's lab complex is massive. It was used by Durst before your reckoning to synthesize new soldiers, peppered with immense vats of ecto-slime and half-formed imps and ogres. You walk past them, towards the makeshift living quarters, trying not to look at them directly. They really creep you out, and you don't need any additional stress.
Terezi!
You say, banging on the door. Inside, you hear shifting and giggling, and in short order, Terezi's face emerges, a blind, blank eye gazing out at nothing, her attention fixed on you in her other senses, a hand shooting out to grab your wrist.
Carcat, it's been a while. How's playing with the humans gone for you?
Her voice is raspy, like she'd just been sleeping. Sleeping hasn't been easy for you all lately.
Exceptional.
You say, businesslike.
I was able to open communique with June, the most reasonable one. She's going to help us with our plan.
Plan?
Terezi squints, head shifting back and forth.
Oh, right. You're still on about that? And for the record, June is the least reasonable one.
Yes, I'm still on about it, and yes, June is the most reasonable one. What else am I supposed to do, just sit here and accept our fate?
No offense, Carcat, but accepting our fate is exactly what you proposed doing 3 days ago.
She says, shrugging.
Well, I changed my fucking mind.
You snap. You enter Terezi's room, which is a total abject mess. You suppose it's easier to justify a messy living area when you're blind like she is. She walks in, deftly picking through the mess as if she knows the location of every chaotic item intricately. She plops down on a beanbag in front of her laptop.
So, what is the plan anyway, outside of entering the session and helping them win?
Terezi asks, sounding bored. She runs her tongue along her laptop screen, already streaked with the saliva from her licking it. You wince.
My plan is to help them initiate the scratch.
You say. This makes Terezi perk up.
A scratch?
She muses.
You've been talking to the doctor, haven't you? Have you told them that will kill them?
She asks, her sharp teeth arranged in a sly smile. You swallow.
No.
You admit.
Fun.
She laughs, licking the screen again. Looks like she's talking to Dave from the color of the text in the chat window.
I'll help. I'm already getting Dave ready to go god tier, though I don't have high hopes. It's not going to be easy convincing the rest of our group that these humans need saving. They all still think that the humans sent that demon on purpose.
You sigh. It's not like you don't know that already. And the way Terezi says it, you almost imagine she's more smug about being right than she is excited to help save your lives.
Just do your part. Leave the rest to me.
You say.
Dave is the most important part of initiating a scratch. Get Aradia to help if you need.
Terezi cackles, licking the screen one more time.
Dave says you're a smelly turd.
She grins. You feel your teeth clench.
Tell Dave to go fuck himself.
You walk out of Terezi's messy room. 4 human kids. 4 troll helpers. You're already helping June. Terezi is helping Dave. So that leaves 2 more. Rose and Jade. They each need a patron troll to help them get through the scratch. You open your palm husk, dialing a familiar number into it.
Kanaya?
You say as soon as you hear the ringing stop.
I'll do it.
Comes Kanaya's soft voice from the other line.
I beg your ever-loving pardon?
Kanaya's voice hesitates.
I will help you guide the humans through the scratch.
Word gets around fast, huh? Who let you in on the plan?
Solix.
Kanaya says simply.
He is more shrewd and attentive than he seems.
No shit.
You mutter.
Just...
You trail off, unsure of how to word what you have to say.
Be careful, Kanaya.
Careful?
Kanaya chuckles on the other line.
Humans are all weak and squishy looking. Not to mention they are a universe away at present. They can pose us no harm.
I don't mean bodily harm, Kanaya.
You warn.
I mean,
This is such a tricky subject to broach with her.
don't make this a case of, xenophilia.
There's a long silence on the other line. Dread pools in your guts.
Xenophilia. Xenophilia is punishable by her imperious condescension by death. That is a serious accusation, Karkat. I would never stoop so low as
The Empress isn't around right now, Kanaya.
You cut her off before her tirade can continue.
I'm just saying it's pretty obvious you have a crush. Sign must be silenced, fuck.
I do not have a crush on some backwater Xenos, Karkat. I merely have a healthy respect for her contribution to our
You
session.
pinch the bridge of your nose.
Just do your job.
You say, hanging up. She agreed, and you trust her to do what needs to be done. That is enough for you. 3 down, 1 to go. Jade. As you spoke with Kanaya, you'd been walking up a massive flight of stairs toward the balcony, towards the person at the top. You really don't want to ask her to help you, but you can't think of anyone else who's successfully spoken with Jade. You open the door to the roof. The lab complex on this meteor reaches high above the meteor's surface, a massive concrete balcony overlooking the barren rock of the meteor. High above, the ring of meteors in the veil spin lazily, some breaking away to hurtle slowly towards Skaya. Once upon a time, the veil was so dense with space rocks it couldn't be seen through, but now there are only a few dozen gray space stones in sight. Across the gray concrete expanse, a girl gets to her feet. Her body is willowy and her voice sharp, but she looks battered and bruised. Her clothes are torn in tatters, hanging off her shoulders as though they were meant for a much wider girl. She leans to the side, uneven, for on the right side of her body her arm is missing, replaced by a spindly prosthetic that grinds when she moves it. Her right eye is missing too, the socket where it once sat, covered by a dark lens of her glasses.
Karkat.
Comes a jaunty voice from across the balcony. You cringe.
Hi, Vriska.
And you say bitterly, in spite of this girl's sorry state, you have no pity in your heart for her.
What brings you up into the spider's intricate web?
Vriska's grin, like Terezi's, is lined with sharp teeth that make you instinctively wince. Damn high bloods. She reeks insincerity, clapping you about the shoulders a little too hard to be friendly.
Are you talking to those fucking humans again? Snore. I keep telling you, Karkat, we don't need them. We can defeat that demon ourselves.
You roll your eyes. You're shorter than Vriska by a head, and she always makes sure to stand close enough to you that you have to tilt your head up to look her in the eyes.
We already agreed that wasn't how we were going to do things.
You say sternly.
No going off to fight him. You saw what he did to Aradia's clones.
Ugh.
Vriska groans.
You're such a wet drying cloth unit, Karkat. You need to have some optimism. Aradia is a weakling. A low blood. Get me an Equius on the case and that demon is toast.
Let's take a second to suspend my disbelief.
You say.
An undertaking which will no doubt cause me a blood clot down the line. Even if you did kill him, we'd still be stuck in a doomed session.
Vriska scoffs, but she looks away. She doesn't have an answer to that.
So what do you propose, fearless leader?
We help the humans initiate a scratch.
You say. For some reason, that word makes Vriska freeze, her shoulders tensing.
A scratch.
She repeats slowly.
Who could have given you a funny little idea like that?
You swallow. You knew this was going to be tough.
You're paranoid, Vriska.
You begin.
The doctor isn't as bad as you say he is. He just wants to help us.
Vriska, to your shock, cuts you off by striking you in the face. Her fist is strong and broad, curled tight enough for the knuckles to go white.
That fucker isn't gonna help us.
Vriska says, her voice suddenly deadly serious. She's been staring at you with an intense hatred, awakening the prey part of your brain for a moment, your eyes going wide, breath catching. But in the next moment, She turns away.
Just leave.
She says, sighing.
I'm not helping any plan with him as the maestro.
You don't need to be told twice. Down the stairs, you make a frustrated growl, running your hand through your hair, gripping your horns with your fists. You shouldn't have bothered with Vriska. Still, Jade needs a patron troll. She has one of the most important jobs, after all, second only to perhaps Dave. You might be able to help her, since you did the same job in your session, but you swallow. You're the last person to be qualified to do that. Back in the computer lab, you slump in your chair. Solix has been joined by Pfeffery, which makes you somewhat on edge. The bubbly girl perks up when you enter, her attention making you immediately blush.
Catfish?
She says excitedly, hopping out of Solix's lap, hugging you around the neck. You suppress a groan. You hate that nickname, but it's not like you can tell her that.
Hello, Your Highness.
You say, stepping back and out of the embrace.
No need for such formality.
Pfeffery says, hopping back into Solix's lap.
I'm no one's highness anymore.
You slink away to your computer without saying anything, but to your shock, someone is already in your seat when you arrive.
Gamzee?
You say, turning the chair around. A bewildered, skinny face covered in monochrome clown makeup looks up at you. A smile slowly forms on his lips.
K-Man,
He says in his raspy drawl. You smile. You like that nickname, but it's not like you can tell him that.
What are you doing here?
You ask, grabbing him by the horn, dragging him out of your seat. Momentarily, your hand gets tangled in his long, wiry hair.
Just, chatting up the good doc.
He says. Sure enough, the chat window is open, revealing correspondence.
You can't do that from your computer.
You're not angry or anything, but not giving him a hard time wouldn't be right.
Yours is closer, brother man.
He says, shrugging.
I just needed some advice is all. Doc knows what's up.
Advice?
You turn to him, cocking your head.
You're like the most serene guy out of all of us, dude. What do you need advice about?
Oh,
Gamzee seems to take your words as a compliment.
well, I kinda just ran out of my super slime pies, big cat. Can't live without 'em. Was getting Doc's advice on kicking the habit.
You nod.
I told you, dude. I told you about pies.
You sit down at the desk.
I'm glad you're getting off them, even if it took sucking down every last one on this meteor to do it.
Gamzee sighs, leaning on the back of your chair. He seems more tired than usual. His eyes growing bloodshot, tinged more red than their usual pale yellow. His grip is tighter than usual, too.
I know, man.
He sighs.
I know it was fucking up my brainium, but I can't help it. Keeps my mind quiet.
You pat Gamzee on the cheek, and he stands, making a growly sigh. You hope he'll be okay. As he leaves, you watch to make sure he exits, before checking what he'd written to the doctor.
Yo, Doc, my guy. I need some assistance.
From your quirk, I assume this is not Mr. Vantis, but in fact Mr. Makara.
You're smart as hell. Though I guess not many people would go for a quirk like mine. Hard as hell to type in, you know.
Indeed. Extrapolating this information was easy. Not that I needed to, I am omniscient after all.
Great to hear, Big Funky D, 'cause I've got a doozy of a whopper for you to omnish.
Oh, do tell, my good man.
I'm out of pies. You told me to get with you when that happened, so, here I'm is.
Indeed. This was inevitable. Your recovery will not be easy, Gamzee. You will be experiencing rather unpleasant withdrawals soon. I would suggest locking yourself in your room with a steady supply of water and food for at least a day.
I can already feel the buzz in my head.
You will not be able to shut it out any longer, I'm afraid.
Fuck. What do I do?
Once the withdrawal wears off, contact me again. I know of the prophet who will bring you to salvation. You can only quiet the buzzing once you are on your path.
My path, huh? Guess I can't keep from that forever.
You cannot, Gamzee. Profits? Salvation? Sounds like Doc is talking shit. Or maybe he just knows how to speak Gamzee's moon logic. Either way, it seems Gamzee is getting the help he needs. What a benevolent, kind, sweet, and wonderful doctor. Truly a magnificent man. Vriska's words about this man clearly cannot be trusted. To your surprise, you see another message appear in the chain. Karkat, it is rude to spy on others' conversations.
Sorry. I just want to make sure he's okay.
You really care for him, don't you? How sweet.
He's a good guy, no matter what everyone else says.
You don't need to extol his virtues to me, Mr. Vantis. Now how goes your search for assistance in your new goal?
Decent? I've got a patron for 3 of the humans, like you said, but I still haven't found one for Jade.
On the contrary, you will be Jade's patron. Is that not obvious? You're both bound by the way of the frog.
Ugh, the fucking frogs.
Indeed. Literally.
I guess in that case I need a patron for June, even though I still need to explain shit to her.
Quite. John is instrumental, if not in his session, in the grand scheme of this intricate play.
Isn't it June?
June. Oh, right. That idiotic moniker. If that's what he fancies, sure.
I guess human gender is more confusing than I assumed.
Let us not speak of deviant constructs, Karkat. John's patron will make themselves known in time, but your job with him is not finished. He still has questions, and you have a very important story to tell. Sure enough, a message appears from John, or June, or whatever. The blue human who, against all odds, doesn't hate your guts. Hey, Karkat, what's your home like? The question makes you pause. Home. It's been so long since you've thought about it. You're going to have to answer carefully with intense, well-reasoned, even-handed analysis of your home planet.
Read this.
Holy shit, this thing is 612 pages?
Okay, you asked, fucknoggin.
It's in an alien language.
Do I have to do everything around here? Christ.
What's this?
A universal translator? Click it.
So I'm just supposed to translate this huge thing passage by passage?
You should be appreciative that I'm sharing this sacred document with you, ingrate. Sufferer below. I will reconvene with you after you've finished it, which, conveniently for me, will be nearly instantaneous.
Right, because you can move around our timeline however you want.
Correct. Now get reading, shitsmear.
You, Karkat, have the luxury of skipping ahead, using a tool in the chat window to scrub around June's timeline until she's finished. To your dismay, just after 5 minutes, she sets her PDA down with a look of frustration, instead chatting up some salamander denizens.
What the fuck? Finish the book, June.
No, it sucks. Give me the short version.
Yeah, let me just boil down my planet's history into a short version. Do you know how dangerous it is that I have this? It's the only heirloom I obtained from my ancestor.
You glance nervously at Pfeffery on Solix's lap.
If the authorities back home knew I had this, they'd kill me.
Oh, wow. I feel a little bad now. Not bad enough to read the whole thing, though.
Ugh.
I'll read it later, I guess I'm also wondering how a Spurb session is supposed to go, you know? You guys won the game. How?
Now that's a pertinent question. I guess I'll tell you how ours went down. We did make pretty fucking short work of the game. Just give me a second. I'm going to compile this into a document for ease of reading.
Ugh. This must have been what Doc meant by an important story. You open a text document in one screen, the other screen still open to June's feed, paused on an image of her looking at her PDA, speaking to you, a smile on her face. Homestuck Alternate Universe is written, produced, and narrated by Funk McLovin, also featuring Janaya as Kanaya, AE as Terezi, Bucky as Karkat, Pakin as Tavros, Shrimp as Nepeta, Technically Dead as Solix, Harper as Vriska, Eclipi as Gamzee and Equius, and Wes as Pfeffery. Illustrations are by Sunny Dionysus and Gastro. Please support Homestuck Alternate Universe on patreon.com/funkmclovin for early access, behind the scenes, and bonus features, but mostly to simply support the efforts of independent creators. Homestuck was written by and is the creation of Andrew Hussie. Thank you for listening.